Going up, I mean, it's skyrocketed, so a $600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk. We're live. Thursday night, 9:39, the 31st day, or the last day of the month of January. And what a beginning of the year it has been thus far. So tonight's more so like an open mic topic. You know, what's on your mind? Let's talk about it. Want to get your thoughts on the video I posted earlier, which I labeled it the Maduro plea for peace. And so, you know, he laid out a lot of things in there that I thought was worth sharing with you guys, because he mentioned about what has happened before when the U.S. decided to intervene in foreign affairs. It never ended well for the leadership of those countries, but nevertheless the countries itself. So mentioning Syria, Libya, and Iraq and things of that nature. So with that being the case, want to go back and forth tonight and get your thoughts. So as always, there's a number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD, which is for you to call in, let your voice be heard. And then more importantly, there's a chat right here. If I have any new viewers, feel free to chime in. Let me know where you're watching from. We'd love to give you a shout out and welcome you into the community. So with that being the case, let's get right into it. I'll briefly just welcome a couple people in. Let me pull up the chat here and see who we got joining us this evening. Let me see here what we got. It's taking some time to load. But I see, let me see, Hernan, Jennifer, Derek, Blunt, Spirit, Mitt P from New Jersey. How you doing, Hernan, Blunt, E Little? What type of crypto are you into? E Little, we can definitely touch on the crypto. That's a good thing. We don't cover it as much here because we're more of a sound metals, precious metals type of get your weight up community. But yet, I also encourage people, if you know and have some knowledge, to speculate in that sector, because it's not going anywhere and it's an official asset class. So, of course, beyond the obvious, you know, you got the top 10 on the coin crypto market cap. You know, you got your Bitcoin, your Litecoin, and whatever else floats your boat, whether you use the utility tokens or actual currency coins, whatever floats your boat. But I like a variety of them. And so Blunt News says, gold and silver, baby. Hi from Boston, Angie. How you doing this evening? Blunt News, BTC. Spirit King says, Mike, can you share your opinion on Trump? Is he a liar? What did he do good and what did he do bad? Okay, that's a good question to start off tonight with. So to share my opinion on Trump. Well, prior to him even considering running, and prior to that, just was curious as to, you know, is this guy taking this opportunity serious, given the fact that he already has a sketchy background and when it comes to doing business, as being known as a guy who will do anything to seal the deal. And so I was very leery of him as a presidential candidate, but yet in comparison to the other people that was already pre-selected with the more of the Bushes and whoever else was running in the Republican side of things, it looked like, you know, he could definitely do more than those guys could as an outsider or as someone with no political experience. So when he ran, and then I saw how he just swept through the primaries and all that stuff like that with ease, blowing out the competition, let me know that the American public wanted something different. And so he was talking all the right stuff, saying how he was going to do this, investigate that, and special investigation for his opponent. And so all that sounded good. He was saying everything that was obvious, that the economy was in a bubble and that, you know, we better be careful in raising interest rates and the Federal Reserve is being political. So he was speaking all that truthful stuff during running for president. But when he crossed the finish line and got sworn in as president, everything slowly changed. So, two things. I'm thinking he's either, as I mentioned on prior streams, a Trojan horse, where he's just the last hoorah of the deep state or the elite to give us an option, or to give the appearance that he's an outsider, but yet he's in the Billionaire Boys Club, so he's definitely been privileged to some information. Or he could be disguised as a as a person that's going to play along with the narrative, but while behind the scenes doing some things that could be beneficial in the long run. So as far as I think he's done bad, I would say with this Venezuela situation, it looks like he's given the approval for this narrative that we have to intervene in order to promote democracy, which has been the same scenario that has been promoted in every time we've invaded a country. It's to remove dictators and to, whether it's nuclear weapons or chemical attacks or whatever the excuse might be, it's always about, helping other countries become more free and more democratic, or whatever that's supposed to mean. So he's playing that card right now. So I'm not sure how to read this, but as far as the good things, I think that him making the issue of the Mexican border situation of importance has some validity to it. Now, whether or not we need a wall or not sure about that. I'm more so just like force regulation and force the law that it's illegal to cross the border. And if you do, there's consequences. Excuse me. But then also, from what I'm hearing in the alternative media space, as to how there's been a lot of human trafficking rings busted and broken up, and a lot of dark and dirty things that comes from certain people on the internet, with some pretty much validity behind it, as far as different little news sources under the ground mentioning about the things that's been disrupted. And I think that has more to do with the idea that he seems to be promoting how serious this human trafficking is, and that's just on the surface. It goes a lot deeper than that when it comes to the child pedophilia stuff and the drugs and all that stuff like that. Is real big issues that no political president or no president period would have ever touched. Like, I never heard Obama once mention about human trafficking or the drug problems or anything of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So not to be to Trump's defense, but the fact he's talking about it lets me know that he's talking a good game. Now we'll see what happens at the end of the day, but that's my 2 cents on that guy there. So as always, we got a call. Let's find out what's going on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man. This is Brian. I'm calling from Delaware.
Brian from Delaware. How you doing this evening, my friend? What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I just want to let people know that I work at one of the 6 too big to fail banks.
Okay.
And I just wanted to call and kind of let people know what I believe is going to happen.
Is this Brian the banker?
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, my friend?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Good, man. Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right. Shine some light on it for us.
Yeah, so essentially, I think if everybody noticed, I mean, if you look at the Dow, say December 24th, things were collapsing. Everybody was very concerned. And then Mnuchin came out, and Trump came out and told everybody to buy stocks, that it was a glitch in the system.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think the Fed has reversed course, and they're just going to keep printing money, essentially just keep quantitative easing going for as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
And I think the trap is cash. If you're holding on to a lot of cash, I'd say any more than $25,000 in cash, they're just going to start hyperinflating it away. I think we're going to start seeing inflation pretty soon.
Now, a quick question for you. So, where you feel or you think, or are there any indicators that you are aware of that you would point to that could be something to play along with that idea of creeping up, us starting to see inflation this year, possibly?
Well, I've noticed something called shrinkflation. Essentially, a product that used to be 10 ounces is down to 9 or 8 ounces, but it's the same price.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll try to get away with that as much as they can. I've noticed it with candy bars and essentially soup, too. If you go to Campbell's and look at the soup cans, they're getting smaller, but the prices aren't going down.
Yeah.
So they're trying to hide this inflationary event with shrinkflation, and you're just going to start seeing things get smaller and be the same price. And the fact is the dollar's not going as far as it used to be. And I don't know if many people know, but there's not too many liquid things you can get into besides the dollar. There's silver and gold, cryptocurrency. It's hard to get liquid, but cash as it is only worth 3 cents that it used to be worth $1.
Yeah.
So there's not too much room. I think the Fed is kind of trapped on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that will be interesting to see, because everyone especially in the alternative media space, Peter Schiff's, even the hedge fund people are mentioning that they're starting to see price picking up and just this uncertainty in policies that are in place. So I definitely believe that we will probably this year begin to really feel the side effects of our monetary base expanding, or if there is a market slowdown where there's some type of policy implemented where there's some more stimulus that is injected in the form of some type of quantitative easing. Now, you say they're still buying, and we're still in quantitative easing. Are you referring to the bond purchases, or what exactly are you referring to from the banker side of things?
Well, the Fed has something called the Exchange Stabilization Fund, the ES. I think it's called, the ESF. And essentially, it's kind of a black budget trading desk where they can buy whatever they want. And the viewers know, and you know, that the Fed hasn't been audited since inception. So God knows what they're buying. I mean, they're monetizing our debt to keep the bond market going. And they might be buying stocks directly. I mean, I don't know who's buying GE when their profit is crashing through the roof. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who's buying this stuff.
That's a good question, because I sure know I wouldn't buy a company that's on its last leg, but that's just me. So, and I'm sure a lot of Americans.
There's so many zombie companies. Yeah. I mean, look at Facebook. They have these crazy privacy things, and a report comes out that 50% of their accounts are fake, and the stock shoots up 12%. I'm telling you, these 6 banks that Mnuchin talked to, they told him to put the gas on and just start buying everything to keep it going.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. That kind of monetary policy is not trickle down. It goes, the rich get richer and the middle class dissolves.
Yeah.
And it can only go on so long. But I'm telling people to, not financial advice by any means, but start reconsidering trying to get out of the dollar. I mean, you still need money to operate in society and pay bills. And you do want to have cash on hand, but if you're sitting on a boatload of cash, I really think, what do you think the inflation rate really is? It's definitely not 2%.
Yeah, and I pulled up the Chapwood Index from a prior guest who runs like a cost of living adjustment calculator, and so the highest state, of course, is New York, and he has calculations based upon the 500 items that we use regularly at about 9 to 11%, depending on what city you're in. Of course, major metropolitan areas, but he's closer to 10%. Then we know John Williams from StatStats always mentions about 9 or 10. So that's 2 sources there outside of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I tend to more believe those guys outside the system than in the system. So definitely well above 2%.
So if those statistics are accurate, if you sit on 50, say you're sitting on 50 to 100 grand in cash, that money will be completely inflated in probably like 6 years.
Yeah, or depending on if this recession hits and it's announced and if it becomes a public matter where they immediately start injecting funny money into the system, it won't be 6 years. It'll be a lot sooner, I believe. So, yeah.
And then you look at the debt market, which I don't know if you've looked at. Derivative market, debt market. These people are buying these 10-year bonds and getting 2.6% for 10 years. If inflation is actually 9% a year, they're losing so much money. We're in negative rate territory.
Negative rate now in real terms. So, interesting, man. So the biggest thing is, I think as we see more of the big funds and things of that nature look to park their funds in metals, because I'm hearing more and more from Main Street now about how attractive gold is, whether it be the ETFs or physical, but it's starting to get more mainstream buzz now. So a lot of people are getting out of the equities market, I would imagine, and they're getting physical. So everyone here has been told for time upon time to get your weight up. So I believe the ultimate wealth preservation tool will be in the form of weight, as opposed to digits or definitely paper. So, but I appreciate you calling, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, man, not a problem. Good talking to you, man, and take care of yourself.
Same here.
I'm not trying to scare you guys. I don't want to see these criminals rob people.
Right. I understand, my friend. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for doing what you're doing. So thanks, man. So I'll definitely link people to the video where we had Brian on a couple months ago. So definitely drop some nuggets there. So appreciate you, Brian. Have a good night, man.
Hey, you too, man. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff as always. Yeah, so feel free to call in. We got another call here. Let's take this call here. And so for those that are not aware, Brian the Banker, he's in RTD Live Talk archive. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Mike. How are you? I'm Spirit King.
Spirit King. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good.
That's good. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
What's on your mind?
Work and jobs and all that.
What's on your mind tonight, man?
Well, I wanted to talk about cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
And specifically the dangers that
go ahead.
people aren't aware.
Go ahead, lay it on us.
Is that okay?
Go ahead, lay it on us.
Well, most people, I speak here on the chat, and they believe cryptocurrency is something that will last pretty much every event that might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really the case, you know.
Okay.
Because the internet is a network of many computers.
Mm-hmm.
But the protocols that secure or connect the computers aren't really all that secure. So, for instance, there's a protocol called BGP, which routes the traffic from, say, your home to a server in China, Canada, or wherever.
Okay.
And that's constantly being attacked mainly by state hackers and state-sponsored actions. Because, for instance, a couple of years ago, some traffic, in fact, most of the traffic of the world was redirected to pass by Chinese servers, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something relatively easy. And in that scenario, if a state decides to block or redirect the traffic for the servers that hold the blockchain data, they can essentially force a blockchain fork, you know?
Yeah.
And when a fork happens, you are all familiar with forks, but on the technical side, what's happening is that there's a fork because you can't actually combine the two splits in the network. Because at one point you have an amount of coins on the main fork, then the fork happens, and you can actually spend your coins on both forks.
Right. That's
so
that's that double spin thing. That's the double that double spin people be talking about.
Exactly, double spending. So if a state agent simply blocks outside access from the inside of the country to the servers distributed that hold the Bitcoin data, what happens? It's a forced split, and that's not easy to break the Bitcoin, because if the states start to block intermittently access, then many splits will appear, and it becomes impossible to recombine all the information and recreate the ledger. I don't know if you understood.
Yeah. So so just to because this is the first time I've heard this type of technical language here. But basically, if a government can block access via internet to the server of a country, it forces a split, or where the data stops, and I guess there's a fork, a new chain created, and you're saying that too many chains that are forked would be hard to bring back in sync to keep that original, say, for example, Bitcoin core ledger intact. Is that kind of what I'm getting at?
Yes. And a simpler example is, imagine that you install a server in your home, you get the blockchain and all that, and you are doing transactions between you and, I don't know, your wife, okay? And then you disconnect the internet cable. What happens? Well, in that blockchain in your home, you continue to mine, you continue to be able to do transactions, but the outside world has no idea, okay? So in practice, I can't really recall the details of the Bitcoin protocol right now, but in practice, you have about 30 to 60 minutes to recombine the changes. So something like a state attack or an EMP or power, like hackers could cut the power to large regions and stuff like that, can force the splits, and that can destroy Bitcoin, not on the technical side because the network continues to run, but it takes trust. People stop trusting it because it's like today it's one split, tomorrow it's another, and then there's the issue of recombining or repeating the transactions and all that.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. So, if there is because one of the problems that people like to throw out there, even myself, if the power is cut off, say for example, like they always talking about the grid, the West Coast grid, the East Coast grid of this country goes out, the blockchain, the network is still up and running. It's just not, you can't access it because of power. Now, say if the power is off a year or two, just worst case scenario, when it cuts back on, if the network was still operational in some other country to where the ledger was still functional, would you be able to access it right away when you have power immediately, or would it take some time to reload and reboot because the network has to get caught up?
Yes, because that's another issue people have. They don't understand how Bitcoin works, and you need internet to actually do a real transaction. Mm-hmm. So if you have no power, and in this scenario you have no internet, then you don't have a split because no one can do transactions without power or internet. So there is no split at all. But in that scenario that I told you, that if you actually had power in your home, you could do transactions in your home. But you have like 3 to 10 blocks of time to actually recombine it on the main network.
Interesting. So that's so in a nutshell, give us a summary of your whole thesis in reference to the vulnerabilities of cryptocurrency.
This is a non-issue. This is not a theory, because you can actually simulate all this on your computer and all that. Well, the summary is simple. It's a decentralized network, as security, as advantages, but the weaknesses are essentially that you need internet access. If you lose internet access, then you can do transactions, and if the internet access is isolated, for instance, only people inside the country can communicate with each other, then there's a split. Those are the two main weaknesses.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Well, Spirit King, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. I think it's the first time I've heard your voice, so I appreciate you calling in, man, and definitely chiming in. And so you have a technical background, so I appreciate you sharing that. And so want to definitely, if we have any other technical people out in the audience, feel free to call in and share some thoughts with Spirit as well. So we definitely here to learn from each other. So Spirit, my friend, thank you for calling in, boss.
No problem. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Have a good night. Yep. Yeah, man. It's good to hear people's thoughts and perspectives and input on the blockchain. So definitely, people, if you guys feel me or don't feel me, we got some more technical people out there that think that that's right or wrong, feel free to call in and set us straight if that is the case. Definitely about learning here. And so get back to the chat a little bit. What we got going on here, it says, as I stated, I look forward to precious metal price going down. It says D. Robbie says, why are the central banks buying so much gold and silver? Because central banks know the real deal. Central banks know what this is all about. And so they are definitely getting their weight up. And so I actually want to share a infographic that I prepared. I think it was about 2 years ago, that I think can kind of sort of put a little bit of, shine a little light on what central banks know. Let me see if I got it. So let me pull this up. I'm going to pull this up. No, not this one. Wrong one. Let me see. I got another one around here. Let me try this one. Is this it? I got a visual aid that I want to show you guys. And I want to see if this is it. Because it just basically walks you through the timeline. It's not coming up. Is it coming up? Revised. So give me a second. I can pull this up. And as always, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Well, maybe that's not working. Where is it at? I'll try this one and see if this works. All right, so I can't, it's not coming up as it's supposed to. Let me refresh that. Because it's quite informative to shine some light on this situation. But anyway, in the meantime, if I find it, I'll definitely get back to it. And so let's keep this party moving forward. What's happening in the chat? It says cryptocurrency is and shall be move into an upward position. This guy is DLA. Wade. Feel free, Wade, to let me know what you got going on, what you think, my friend. Do you think the cryptocurrency bear market will continue through Q1 2019? Alex, do I think the crypto market will continue to be in a bear market? Hard to tell, man, because I believe that it was an artificial pump last year to get everyone excited. It brought in a lot of fresh money, which was what it was intended to do, and unfortunately, a lot of the people who rolled it up to the top, I'm sure cashed out up there, and so now we're down this way. A lot of people are skeptical and not feeling too happy about the crypto market in general. But yet, as I tell people here, it's not meant necessarily about the price of anything now that are considered competitors to fiat currencies, and so cryptocurrency is definitely a competitor, given that that some of them have very useful properties, whether it be to disrupt or as a transfer of value from country to country, point A to point B, not necessarily a store of value just yet. Even BTC is not a store of value because it's not stable when you measure it in dollar terms, but if you measure it according to what it was priced at 10 years ago, it's definitely done a lot better than $1. But in the long run, I think there will be a bull market of all bull markets, because that would be a sign where fiat currencies are no longer trusted by governments, nevertheless the people. So I do expect another dip, just because it just seems timely. You know, I would imagine as economies are fluctuating and confidence and markets aren't as stable, the powers that be, whether it be exchanges or regulation or the big holders of cryptocurrencies, might still want to, just for the sake of being greedy, slam the price down so they can gain more access to more of the big coins out there and the Litecoins and things of that nature. And so I anticipate it to go down a little bit. I don't anticipate to rise Q1. And so that being the case, like I always say, I prefer manipulation any day, because it allows me to focus on possession as opposed to the price. So that's my motto there. And so what else we got here? It says Skype call was free. Don't know what that is. It says good points take years to develop, similar to the internet. What the bet with the dollar cost average of gold? What's the best way the dollar cost average goes? Best way, in my opinion, dollar cost average. It of course, everyone's situation is different, but it boils down to, after everything is said and done, as far as your living expenses. Me personally, I prefer to just assess what I need and what I don't need as far as extras. Like, I don't watch TV like that, so I don't need cable. So whatever I would spend for cable per month, I just go ahead and get heavy. And so I just cut out things that I don't use that I consider a waste. And that's my method of dollar cost averaging, because I would either give it to a company or I can invest it in my future. So that's my preferred method. So I don't have any hobbies or any bad vices, like I don't smoke or anything like that. So I can't cut away stuff like that. But I trim the fat off things I don't need, and I use that for what I do want, which is to position myself a little bit better. So that's my method. But everyone has their own. But it's good to say that if you wanted to find a couple extra crumbs, extra couple dollars per week, you can find something you really don't need in your life that's probably not really doing you much good, and get rid of it and use that for good. So yeah, keep this party moving. Tony Blah, Portugal. Spirit, you in the States? No, so Spirit, you in Portugal. Okay. Across the water. How is the economy in Portugal? Never been there. Says, do you think someone is going to stop President Trump about his intentions to invade Venezuela? Could be, or other kind of Vietnam. All Americans knows that except Trump. All Americans know that except Trump. Do I think someone will stop Trump? I don't think so. I think that for whatever reason, I'm not. Of course, we know beyond obvious, because even Maduro mentioned in that video that they're rich in oil, that they're rich in gold, and they have so much natural wealth in that country that's untapped because of the lack of infrastructure and just the nature of that country being basically third world status right now. And so that's the last, outside of Iran, that's probably the biggest oil and natural gas supply that's really untapped. And the last thing we want here in the United States of America, or our political figures want, is to have our enemies, Russia and China, benefiting from something a couple hundred miles away from our border. And so I can see, just for the sake of disrupting any type of intervention and support that Maduro is getting from our enemies, we're going to just stir up trouble. And so once again, it's the whole idea of sanctions. And so they're passing more sanctions. And I actually saw a report tonight that I think what's it called? One of Russian's oil companies, Rosneft, is in debt. Has lent at least $6 billion or so to PSDVA, which is that Venezuelan gas company down there. That's part of the national government for the most part. And so they're talking about Russia's concerns is that as of now, the Russian company that invested in the oil company in Venezuela isn't doing too well because of sanctions and the fear of them not being repaid. And so here we have the idea that if Venezuela is invaded, all the bills and the debt that they've incurred over the last several years to stay afloat to Russia, to China, may not be paid back. So that could be billions upon billions of dollars lost, to where it's in Russia and China's best interest to make sure that Maduro doesn't leave office. Because if he does, it's good to say this Guaido guy, this Juan Guaido, who is basically just basically a secretary puppet from the United States of America. If he gets into office, then it's good to say he's going to cancel all those debts and basically just throw away everything that was established from Russia and China's best interest in that country. So that's the ultimate agenda, I believe. It says, I don't think the U.S. is going to fight with Venezuela. Odinga, I don't think they're going to fight directly, but they're definitely going to put pressure continuously via sanctions. And eventually, as I mentioned the other day, if you got Colombian or I think it's U.S. troops in Colombia on the border, that right there is the same of having, a military force in your backyard of your house, and they just stand over there watching you. How uncomfortable would you feel knowing that you got some people on the other side keeping an eye on you, waiting for you to slip up so they can come your way any minute and take you out the game? So anywhere it go, if we have troops in Colombia off the border, that is the closest thing to a very invasive stance against another country that I could have ever imagined. And so it said, Mike, it's not the oil, it's the gold. Tony, I don't doubt it. I would imagine that it could be both, because if they're sitting on all those barrels of oil that's not being fully extracted in a way that's beneficial and prosperous for that country, I'm sure we can make plans. I'm sure we can do a lot with that and the gold as well. But yeah, it's interesting how Maduro gave Russia the rights to mine gold there in Venezuela. So, Tony, I feel you 100% on that one. And so it says, no Colombian says no to military base. So, Tony, Colombia said no to military base. So, with that being the case, now, would they perhaps allow some troops still to come and just visit as they do some military exercises with the Colombian military? You know how those things usually work out. You're not officially invited to set up shop, but you can come and help train our military. Just like all of a sudden, I read a while back that, that the United States of America Armed Forces is they're in Argentina, in the southern parts of Argentina, doing some training exercises. And so I'm thinking, like, there's nothing going on in Argentina whatsoever, but there is some natural resources in the region they're in. So I would imagine it has a lot to do with that. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Ed from Ohio.
Ed from Ohio. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind?
Man, first of all, I just want to, I thank you, man. I've been listening to you for over a year, and you done helped me in so many different ways. It's ridiculous. But
I appreciate that, man.
I called tonight to talk about, I was watching True News, and I seen they had something on there with Bibi Netanyahu just gave a speech. And on the 29th, I believe it was, a couple of days ago. And they're just talking about how Israel is a part of the Five Eyes, and was talking about the United States like the United States was just a small fry, and basically Israel running things, and how they basically is becoming the buckle in the Belt and Road Initiative, and as far as information is concerned, and the World Wide Web. So it's seeming like, they literally is about to be controlling things. And while they got everybody distracted, but all of this stuff going on with the U.S. and Russia, China, Venezuela, all this other stuff, the real battle about to be coming with this information control.
Information control, as far as you mean the clampdown on the media or what?
What do you mean? Crackdown on all data, period, I believe.
All
as
data,
far
period.
As the web in general, all data as far as people and everything else.
Yeah. I don't doubt it, man. And that's as of now, since the internet is a part of all of our lives, I'm hearing more and more about how companies, everybody, all our information that goes through the internet is being tracked, monitored. And when we use these social media sites, they collect our data and sell it. So that's a major problem. And so the interesting thing is going to be down the line, what are they able to populate and form when it comes to our own? I believe that everyone has their own internet identity as far as where we shop, what we buy, what we watch, spend most of our time on YouTube, and so everyone has a profile with their data in it that labels us as, what's that movie called? Hunger Games. You got the insurgents, you got the whatever, 3 or 4. You know what I'm talking about? Like we are. This is just me talking, but I saw that movie and it was very interesting that everybody was categorized and given certain abilities and whatever. But I think there's files that has each of our names categorized as far as where we stand with the current powers that be. So, yeah, man, interesting, very interesting how the thing plays out.
Yeah, I've seen that, and then I was flicking through and saw something else on RT, and it was talking about how they got it's voluntary now to get that chip, because they're using the spin as it being convenient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be able to, and so now they're saying now it's voluntary, but soon it could be mandatory in the U.S. coming soon. And I'm like, how? And so they like, they're gonna say, well, if you want to go to certain restaurants, if you want to go to certain places, you will have to have this to be able to even access the places and things to do. You will have to have that chip to be able to even access it. So it's you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that's where we stand, man. So, but the thing is, like, we all know where this is heading and how this is supposed to play out. So I'm not surprised, to say the least. So, as always, man, when you come across articles and videos, man, shoot me a message via email.
I was gonna try to send it to you, and I didn't know how to do because I really ain't too tech savvy, man.
Yeah.
So man, I'm fresh about the streets,
if
man.
you're on Facebook,
you know what I mean?
Are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook?
No, man, listen, I done shut down my Facebook and Instagram, everything.
Ain't no wrong with that. But watch this. Go to rethinkingthedollar.com. In the top portion, my email address, admin@rethinkingthedollar.com. Shoot me an email directly, and then I'll check it out because I love to stay in tune. And definitely, if I can do an article or do a news report on it, I'll do it. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, man. But appreciate you, man.
All right, you take it easy.
All right, you too.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we all know the influence that the small piece of land over in the Middle East called Israel, the influence they have on the world, because everything, unfortunately, goes through that small portion, because everything that we know in the modern age has come through that particular lineage, the Jewish community. So they are the overseers of our currencies, our governments, and all that. In a sense. So, interesting. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Gerald calling you from Canada. How you doing, man?
From Canada. I'm good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, let's see. I kind of was all over the place, but when the guy called about Israel, a.k.a., let's be real, let's call it Germany. Let's be realistic and say Israel is really the new Germany, and America, including Barack Obama and the president before that, they sent the taxpayers' money over to those people, and their military is strong. So basically, Israel barks, United States feed them the dog food. So we're basically messed up. And something else you were saying, I wanted to say something about God, gold, oil, and drugs. Now, help me if I'm right. Isn't Venezuela down in South America?
Yep, on the top of it. Yep.
Okay, so the first thing I'm thinking about is let's look at their natural resources, which is basically the not the poppy, but the coca leaf.
Yeah.
So let's remember George Bush, Papa that Bush, as Gil Scott Heron called him, and Bill Cooper said he was the #1 drug dealer. So this is about territory and resources.
Yeah.
Why they sell us entertainment, the Kardashians, this. I say it again.
Yeah.
You are somewhat like a small bee trying to survive and tell people about this economics because this government backs. Let me say it again.
Yeah.
This government and these so-called Jews back these entertainers. These entertainers talk about money. They're not telling the truth about money.
Right.
Because of you and Phil Valentine and some more things I ran across, there's no money. That's even in their law books. The money doesn't exist. So these people have created chaos out of an imaginary thought. They don't like the fact that people like you are saying things, which I wish more people would talk about this, because as I look at your site now, there's one thumbs down. What idiot would thumb this down when we're talking about they can literally enslave us, which they have in a way, but now they can enslave us, like the brother said, with that chip.
Yeah.
This is where I personally think that the cryptocurrency comes in. It throws them off because they can't control the cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I got one question. That most dangerous question is, though, then who really started this cryptocurrency? Did they started this and then sort of just played the ghost and then got everybody hyped up on it? I don't know. But it scares me. But tell you what, I just bought me some more Bitcoin the other day. I'm just trying to sit back. That's all I'm trying to do is sit back. And that's what I can do. But I want to sit back and see what Trump does. He has found this pedophilia thing going on, but I think that maybe he should mind his own business and stay out of Venezuela. That's my opinion, because he needs to let the people who dip their hands in on Venezuela, these American people, you need just let them hang themselves. Give them enough rope. Let them hang themselves. Then you come out, you arrest the people, and then do your best to build the USA, not the United States of America. Build the USA back up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like,
kind of got what I said.
Yeah. He ran on making America great again. So I'm wondering, what exactly does anything outside of our borders have to do with making America great, apart from us having to try to keep the same dollar narrative going? Because the primary reason, or one of the deciding factors for even intervening in Venezuela like we are now, is the fact that Maduro in the fall said no more dollar usage at all. He removed the dollar from all exchanges. They didn't price anything in dollars anymore. And so when he did that, I knew that was the last straw. And sure enough, this election, they wasn't on board with that. So of course they're expressing their displeasure by allowing a stranger to even, and that's one thing. But the fact that this person they put in place is not even a person who's has any real experience whatsoever. They're giving him a thumbs of approval, which lets me know that this is all a sham in the first place. So, yeah.
Oh, but wait, Mike. Now I don't know. I don't even know if you was born yet. You notice the same thing they did to the Shah in Iran. This the same thing they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
This is the same exact thing. They put the Shah in power. This is the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Let me use correct English. It does not look good, sir. That's all I can say.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Does not look good. It does not.
I agree. Well, hey, man, appreciate you calling, man. As always, it's good to hear your voice, boss.
Okay, Mike, take care.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, man, it does not look good. I would say the same thing. And it does not look good, especially when you got the president coming out making a video, Maduro making a video on his Facebook account, which made it look like he's basically trying to just let the world know what the true intentions of the United States government is in this intervention and promoting a coup against him. And so it's basically, I thought about when I posted that video, I'm like, this is a man who doesn't have many options. They don't have any type of military might or force to be able to really defend themselves against what's coming. And I'm thinking, like, I mean, it's just unfortunate that, man, like in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, depending on how this plays out, I could see Maduro no longer, being in power or, in the land of the living. And that's the scary part, because the consequences of everything that's happening right now will not end good for him. And hopefully the people, even if they put a puppet in place, the puppet is basically just doing what we tell them or what the U.S. tells them. And so all their wealth will be going to be stolen anyway. So the gold is, in a plane that I did an article about, and actually I got an article about where some gold is going. But even with that, the public, the citizens of Venezuela will not reap the benefits of all those natural resources at all. So because of that, it's good to say that whether Maduro stays or whether the puppet comes into play, the Venezuelan people are still going to starve. And so that's my thoughts there. But I want to pull up an article real quick. So this is like a little follow-up from Reuters. And I think this might have something to do with that plane, supposed plane that's there. But it says, this is an exclusive as of today. It says, Venezuela plans to fly central bank gold reserves to the UAE, says a source. So let me, I'm going to thumb through this because this is as of today, I believe. But I wonder, and this is just me talking stuff through, but we were told that a Russian plane flew in and was landed, empty planes, Boeing 777, fairly big plane. Now, what's the chance that plane was sent by Russia because it's probably one of the best quality planes for long distance to carry gold or whatever, and the gold was not meant to go to Russia. It was meant to go to the UAE as like some type of, safekeeping type of vault situation where, say, perhaps Russia gets a cut out of this because of the debt that they may not receive if and when Maduro leaves office. And so just some stuff to think about. But when I saw this, that the plane is sending 15 tons of gold from central bank vaults to the UAE in coming days in return for euros and cash, is that the entire truth, rather. So it says just something to think about. If you guys want to dive into it further, I'll post it here in the chat so you guys can see it. But that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. So we'll see. But what else is going on in the chat? Let me get back to the past. It says Putin owns Venezuela now. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Don't disagree with that. He has rights to a lot of things in our country. So a lot of that stands to be lost if Maduro is no longer in office. It says I don't trust the new government trying to get hold of Venezuela. Not saying like I like Maduro. Feel so bad for those citizens. Pray for the people of Venezuela. Lean Bean, good point. Then we got here. Maduro may have made a political mistake. What's up, Mike? Louisiana here. Brandy, how are you doing this evening? Glad you could join us. It says Russia buys gold from its own gold miners in Russia and buys China currencies, but has surplus with China. Putin, very smart. King Spring, man. That's the thing. Like, not a big fan. I don't know the man like that, but just watching him from afar, based upon the little information we gather on this side of the pond, he always seems to be cool, calm, and collective, and he has a deep resume into some very dark and deep things. So I never put it past President Putin to be ahead of the game and kind of know what's going on with a lot more than we do as U.S. citizens. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Anybody there? Going once, going twice? Give me a call back. We'll get you on here. And so people, as always, coming down the home stretch. It's been a good back and forth sessions this evening. It says they also have Putin crypto. So while we're on here, and I'll wait for some more people to call in, I want to pull up some articles that I think might be of interest to a few people. And so for my crypto folks out there, this is something I thought was interesting. And so it looks like Samsung S10 might have a cold storage wallet inside of it. And so that could be more in alignment with the whole adoption push for cryptocurrency. So that could be some good news for those that are heavily waiting on the adoption piece. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Anybody there? Going once, going twice. Hello? Oh, maybe not. In that one. Accept this one. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Looks like we have some malfunctions here. Let me try this. Try something different. Got to go to my backup. Give me 1 second, people. All right, let's try something different. So give me a call back. We try to get you on here. I apologize. Not sure why it wants to act up, but it does what it does. So keep it moving. But anyway, so what are your thoughts on this? With the Samsung S10 having a wallet built inside of it, there's actually some pictures here of a Galaxy S10 with crypto wallet built in. Imported existing wallet, create a new wallet. So is this right on time to where the Samsung is because I know regulation is a lot different, and so we should be good. Let's see if this works. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Mike.
Tony.
From Oakland.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
I'm good, and you?
Doing well. Good to hear your voice. What's up with you?
Good. Same to you as well. I just wanted to let you know that I think Maduro's doing the right thing. He must have got a playbook from Putin. Talk to him nicely and softly, and we want to work this thing out. Mm-hmm. And it's just like when you're in a fight, man. They surround you, and you take the biggest one out, mm-hmm. and then the rest of them flee. Yeah. If you remember, when this whole thing started out, they banned Maduro from doing anything, mm-hmm. and then when Maduro asked for his gold is when all of a sudden he wasn't a legitimate president. I think part of the reason why they did that is because England doesn't have that gold in the vault. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have to put up this skeleton guy named Juan until they either come up with the gold or we're gonna play this game out. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what's going on with this. I don't look for U.S. to invade, because if you remember, this has been going on. They knew this was going to happen because remember the female down in Brazil, she got caught up in the Panama Papers. Yeah. And they kicked her out, and then they inserted their puppet there. Yeah. And then on the other side, Bolsonaro, he jailed the guy that was going to win hands down. Mm-hmm. Not him jailing, but the guy that was going to win hands down got jailed, and then they inserted him. Yeah. So, they're just trying to surround Venezuela and get everything they can out of them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't doubt it, man. And so, in your opinion, based upon your viewpoints on this, will there be a removal of Mr. Maduro before spring?
Can't do it.
Can't do it?
Can't do it. No, because that's Russia's puppet. Mm-hmm. That's China's puppet.
So what?
And he who has the most gold makes the rules.
So I'm saying, like, we're a couple hundred miles away from Venezuelan borders. Russia and China, a couple thousand or 2 miles, however long. They're much further away in the event of an attack, bar from them being there, and mainstream news not knowing about it, or what.
No, Russia's already got guys over there. They sent 2 nuclear warhead jets over, mm-hmm. and China just sent one over too. Mm-hmm. And then Russia sent their undercover military over there to guard him. So he's well protected.
Okay, so we'll see. So what I'm hoping for is that somehow, some way, we bring ourselves back to reality and focus on within our own borders. But yeah, I know we always need diversions and distractions all the way around the world to keep people's attention for news stories every night. But hopefully we can get away from this story, man. Let this guy do what he got to do, and hopefully. But here's the thing: like, if we don't continue to intervene the way we are, it's good to say, based upon this whole Chavismo socialism policy, is not going to help the people there, and so the people there are still going to be in trouble. But even though I know it's none of our business. What do you think the end result will be? More of the same if Maduro stays, or will they come back to second world, first world status eventually?
As far as Maduro now,
right? The Venezuelan people.
They're going to say this is the U.S. last stance. That's what I feel. Mm-hmm. It's the U.S. last stance. Everything's going to hell in the handbasket, and we're throwing all our marbles on the table. I call. And if you notice today, Maduro said one thing that each country that the U.S. has tried to invade, they ended up stepping up. They said, we got weapons of mass destruction. North Korea told them that. They got out of there. Iran told them that. They got out of there. And Russia just beat them out of Syria. So, you know, it's like, well, you can come in here if you want to. And not only that, if you look over in Colombia, Bolsonaro doesn't have 100% backing over there. I mean, these people are real about they fighting. You know, we play with ours and they steal the money.
Yeah.
But when they say, I'll pick up an arm for my president, they will pick up an arm.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, good stuff.
So they need to be careful, and that's why I think they didn't allow the U.S. to set up a military base over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
all right, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you, my friend.
Keep your head up.
Yep. You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah, man. That's man, some good thought there. Good thoughts, Tom. Appreciate you for sharing, man. And so, what I'm gonna do tonight, I'm gonna end off on this last little bit of information here. And so, going to get drafted, RTD. I'm not going to war. I don't fight other people's wars. How do you know Russia is there? Where's your proof? Nano Joe. There was some articles. If you Google, I did an article. Did I do a video? I posted on the community page a picture showing Russian Air Force training Venezuelan Air Force. So that is one indicator that there are some Russian forces there because they were doing some training. So that's one piece. Check the community page, and I have an article there. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Casey. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Casey from Dallas, Texas. How you doing, my friend?
Good.
What's on your mind?
So Mike, when do you see the next? How long do you see the next Lehman event coming up? When do you think the official collapse?
Official collapse. So official collapse meaning that it's going to be a institution of some nature, similar to Lehman's. It could be happening anytime in the next couple of months or already underway. Now we got the Deutsche Bank situation, which is very unstable. They're trying their best to get some investors and some backers in the Deutsche Bank. Most recently is that Qatar hedge fund looking to pump in $5 or $6 billion, as if that's going to help at all. But Deutsche Bank could be the leading candidate for the next Lehman type of crisis. But Italy is in a recession officially, according to the article I received the other day. So we know the Italian banks are having issues. So the question will be, what portion of the world would it come from? Would it come from Asia, because China has their internal problems? Would it come from the EU area, because they're all tapped out and Germany's basically about to have some issues keeping everybody afloat? Or will it come from too big to fail banks? So I would probably break it down to the regions. I would probably say it'll be the EU area first, because it was the US led the way last time, so it's somebody else's turn to lead the way. But then they're all interconnected, so it's gonna, one bubble pops, it's gonna spread like a virus in the banking sector, leading to everyone's bail-in document being activated, in my opinion.
Now, that's a good point. I like how you said that the EU is going to be the next catalyst. America has its turn now. They're going to use the EU as the scapegoat. As far as cryptos, do you see them in a bubble, or do you, from what I understand for cryptos, or Bitcoin at least, that it usually has a lot of 60% drops and it goes back up, and large drops and it goes back up? Or do you think cryptos are just in a bubble?
In my opinion, cryptos have not even started to move yet in comparison to what's coming, because when we assess the value of cryptos, we do it in dollar terms. But what about the time when a dollar is not wanted and people are looking to get rid of their currencies in general? Where will they run? They're going to run to assets that have characteristics of money. And so Bitcoin, Litecoin, all those cryptocurrencies have the properties of money. And they are, as they're ramping up this adoption process to make it easier for the public to get involved, I can see governments, as well as probably the public, rushing into cryptocurrencies as a alternative to absorb some of the liquidity, because it would then skyrocket in nominal price because you price it in dollars. So it's going to look like it's, that's why people say it can be 100,000 Bitcoin or $1 million Bitcoin. That's just because a dollar has lost that much more purchasing power, to where it appears to have gone up in nominal price, but it's really the dollar or whatever currencies are probably having major issues. So I see Bitcoin going to, I mean, just because when it's measured in dollars, it can be an unlimited number because there's more dollars in circulation, paper or digital, than we even know about. So all that has to be accounted for in other assets, gold, silver, all the real things are going to go up nominally in price. So I think, Bitcoin, the 19,000 was just, it's chump change compared to what's coming, in my opinion.
Now, another thing, you're a very biblical man, right? You're very into the word. You're very into God, right?
I try.
Where do you see the dollar collapse? I like to study. I like to study Revelation. I like to study eschatology. Where do you see the dollar collapse?
I see
into biblical prophecy.
You
see it all.
Yeah, I don't really see I don't have no point of reference to say that dollar will collapse because I don't know that Revelations is 10 years, 100 years, 200 years away. I don't know how the end of days in reference to the 7-year period of tribulation and things of that nature plays out. But from what we're told, when the EU area, whatever the nation, the next Satan, whatever it's referred to, the Antichrist that comes out of the EU region, according to biblical times, him being the head overseer of looks like the global system, he will issue some type of currency of trade or medium or something of that nature, it says, and everyone will have to have a chip or whatever the actual reference is in Revelations, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be right after the dollar. It could be after, because I would imagine it's going to go from paper right into, so we're getting right into the crypto, which is solely digital. And then from that point, we're going to go to start pricing biometric type crypto where you put your eye up to something and you can think and do a transaction or something. So we got, if it's like that, we got some time, I believe. But it's all here though. But it doesn't have to be the end of the dollar. The dollar is just going to die because the British pound died before, French franc died before that, the German whatever, and so that's just the end of empires. But yeah, I don't know how far we are from Revelation's time. But biblically speaking, there will be a one world currency that is labeled with the mark of the beast that we all will have to be a part of, and if you want to do trade according to biblical time. So could be 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. I don't know, but it doesn't have to be at the end of the dollar, though. Is my point.
Now, another YouTube blogger, Chris Dwayne, says the collapse of the dollar will be the biggest event in world history, or the hyperinflation of the U.S. dollar will be the biggest event in world history since it's the world reserve currency. Mm-hmm. Do you share that same narrative?
I do. I would agree with that because this is the first time in human history that everything has been digital in reference to computer, in reference to technology being so much a part of our lives where there's no way around this next recession, depression, collapse, or whatever impacting everything because we're more digital now than paper. So everything that people think they own in a portfolio is all digital. Like, with there being 30, 40, 60 trillion dollars in just retirement vehicles, that's all digital because the paper don't even exist. So imagine a computer glitch in reference to that stuff. That destroys everything people think they own. So what's coming will definitely alter our way of life completely because of credit having become the only financial vehicle people use to live off of because that's just the model we're under, the debt-based system. So it will be like nothing we've ever seen before, but I believe we will recover because every past panic, recession, depression, famine, even back in the biblical times, you recover. It's just, how it is. So it's not the end of the world. It's just end of a system and a structure that will usher in something else.
And with all I think in Venezuela right now, the average person's lost about 20 pounds due to starvation. Yeah. Now, Venezuela imports most of its food. Mm-hmm. I think it's 80%. As opposed, now in America, it's the other way around. They 80% of our food comes from home grown in the United States. Mm-hmm. Do you think the hunger will be just as bad do you think the hunger will be just as bad in America as Venezuela, or do you think it will be a little bit less? Won't be quite as bad.
Good question. I think it can be somewhat comparable because the way we get our food here is we go down to our local grocery store and the shelves are stocked usually every night as opposed to every week or type of. So because of our logistical system where we've been condensed into these small populated areas, the food supply chain will definitely freeze up when credit freezes up. So commerce won't be the same. So we will have a situation where the store shelves might be empty for a while. And so getting food might be a problem, even though we have some rural areas around us where there's farms and whatnot. But there will be a definite shock, put it like that, because we're not much different than they are, because they're very like Caracas area. It's a nice city amongst hills or whatever, but it's similar. It's a metro city, and so they have issues just like we have issues. So I think it's gonna be similar as far as us losing weight. How long will it last? I don't know about that, but we will definitely have a shock to reality, similar to what they have, I believe.
Which part of America do you think will be most dangerous in the collapse?
Ooh, part would be most dangerous. I would probably say just metropolitan areas in general. So the really big cities like New York City. New York City is a place I would not want to be in, definitely, because it'd be hard to get out of that area because of how tightly packed everything is, and just the roads or whatever is not designed for mass exit. And so all the metropolitan areas, Chicago, Detroit is more spread out than all those other cities. So any heavily metropolitan areas, usually in the really big populated cities of 1 million plus or around 1 million, might be difficult. So because those people there, all they know is city life. And so if all you know is city life, when your city life is disrupted, what are you going to do? You're going to have to fight and defend for your life and feed yourself, I would imagine, if it's a worst case scenario like power outage or lack of food or something of that nature. So definitely any metropolitan city, I would believe, would have some issues.
All right. Well, man. Well, thanks for your time, and
appreciate you calling, man.
It's always good hearing from you.
Thanks for the questions, man. Some good questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, man. So that's it for this evening, people. It was fun. It was fun to be able to hang out with you guys this evening, and I saw a lot of good activity in the chat. Sorry I didn't get a chance to mention or get up with more people in the chat, but as always, that's what the phone lines are for. Feel free to call in the future, and we can continue this thing on. But with that being the case, people, we are about to call it quits. Got about 100 and so people on here, and as always, if you've enjoyed the back and forth, if you found some value in the comments that were shared by the callers, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button beneath this video so more people can find and uncover what we're doing here and come into the community so that we can educate, edify, and build up one another and encourage each another. Because at the end of the day, we are expecting something life-changing, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And as always, I believe that if you're a believer in Christ Jesus, and if you're in the kingdom of God, which is promoted through his spirit, then you're going to be fine. But yet God will definitely get the glory out of this situation regardless. So that's my personal faith and belief there that I'm standing on. But other than that, I don't know what you're standing on, but definitely, hopefully you are encouraged and edified and built up and excited about the times ahead, man, because with problems comes opportunity. So for those that are aware and think outside the box, you will definitely be able to position yourself in a much better way, I believe, after all this stuff unravels than before, possibly. So that being the case, be blessed, be safe. It's been fun hanging out with you guys this evening. And then if you want, I have some opportunities up there for you guys to donate to the channel. If you feel free, become a Patreon subscriber, or your boy do take Bitcoin up there as well. So I do believe it will be a more reliable source of exchange amongst people in the future. So definitely I am a supporter of that. So with that being the case, be blessed, be safe. I'll see you guys later. Peace.